Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting quickly up to speed. We sift through the sources, find the core ideas, and basically distill it all down for you. Today, we're looking into memory, but maybe not in the way you usually think about it. We're exploring those really strange feelings of familiarity, that sense that, hang on, I've been here, done this exactly like this before, and we're asking, well, where do some people think these powerful, sort of unexplainable memories actually come from? It's this whole idea of memories from the stars.
Yeah, it's a really interesting path we're taking today because we're going to see where, neuroscience bumps up against some pretty profound spiritual ideas. So the plan is this. We'll start with something pretty common, almost normal, you could say, déjà vu, that brain glitch. Then we pivot big time. We'll look at these really cosmic concepts, things like Starseeds, the Akashic records, definitely more New Age territory. And then we'll circle back, look at what actual spiritual practices and even neuroscience tell us about what the mind can do and maybe what it can't, right here on Earth.
Okay, let's unpack this then, starting with that feeling.
Yeah.
That really weird, I've seen this before moment. Déjà vu?
Exactly. Déjà vu. It's French, coined by a researcher, Émile Boirac. And it just means that feeling, that really strong sense that something totally new, a place, a conversation, whatever has actually happened before. What gets people is how real it feels. Super vivid, but there's no context. You can't place it.
Right, and that must make it incredibly hard to study, doesn't it? It's purely subjective. You can't just induce déjà vu in a lab on cue.
Pretty much impossible, yeah. So researchers have theories, but it's tricky.
So what are the main scientific ideas about what's going on inside our heads during that feeling?
Well, the sources we looked at point to two main theories, and both basically frame it as a kind of error, a glitch in the system. The most common one is what they call a memory retrieval error. So imagine your brain's like a huge filing system, right? You walk into a room or have a conversation, and something about it, the light, the smell, who's there, it's really, really similar to something you have experienced before, maybe way back, childhood even.
So the brain flags it as familiar, finds the feeling of familiarity.
Exactly. It pulls up the familiar tag, but it doesn't retrieve the actual memory file. The when or where or what is missing.
So you get the feeling without the facts. Just familiarity, pure and simple.
Precisely. It's a mismatch. Recognition works, but the full recall doesn't quite get there.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Takes the mystery out, frames it as, faulty wiring. What about the second theory?
The second one goes a bit deeper neurologically. It links déjà vu to unusual electrical activity in the temporal lobe.
The temporal lobe. That's involved in memory, right? And emotions.
Vital for it. Memory, emotion, even behavior. And this is where it gets a bit more serious. The sources mention a kind of clinical warning. If you're getting déjà vu really often, like the figure mentioned was more than 3 times a month, or if it comes with these weird dreamlike states or feeling detached, that could be a sign of something else going on, some kind of neurological instability, maybe even in some cases an early sign of temporal lobe epilepsy.
Wow, okay. So that's a big difference. From a harmless little brain hiccup to a potential neurological red flag. But I guess this is where, for a lot of people, science just doesn't feel like enough of an answer, right? If the feeling is so profound, maybe it can't just be a glitch. And that's the jumping off point, is it? Where the explanations leave the lab and head for the stars, basically. This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, this is the pivot. We shift from brain mechanics to this belief that some souls here on Earth are actually from Earth. They have an extraterrestrial origin. The whole concept of the starseed.
Starseed. Okay. So how are they defined? How is a starseed different from, say, a soul that is considered native to Earth or Gaia?
The general idea is that starseeds are souls whose origins lie elsewhere, other planets, other star systems. They're often described as being, spiritually inclined, maybe feeling a very strong connection to nature. But the key thing is often this feeling of displacement. Like they don't quite fit in here. They might feel this deep longing to go home, but without really knowing where home is. And often there's a sense of having a mission, a purpose to help Earth or humanity in some way.
So that feeling of restlessness or not belonging gets an external explanation, an origin story almost. If someone feels like that resonates, how do they supposedly figure out where they're from? Pinning down their cosmic address. I can see how I'm Pleiadian might feel more empowering than I have a temporal lobe glitch.
Oh, absolutely. It offers a narrative. The sources mention a few ways people try to discover this origin, though obviously these aren't scientific methods. It often involves introspection, looking inward, trusting intuition, connecting with what they might call their higher self. Or They might consult a specialist, like a starseed astrologer who looks for specific markers in their birth chart.
Right.
Or they might seek out a medium or someone who claims to read the Akashic records, a kind of channel that information. And apparently, it often turns out they're a colorful mix. As one source put it, maybe roots in Sirius, the Pleiades, places like that.
Okay, you mentioned the Akashic records, and as soon as we bring those up, we have to talk about the controversy. Because critics are, well, they're pretty strong in their views, aren't they?
Extremely strong, yeah. Believers describe the Akashic records as this kind of cosmic library, a universal database holding everything that's ever happened, every thought, every intention, like a vibrational record of all existence.
But the critics,
The critics call it pure fiction. They argue it exists only in the minds of believers. There's absolutely no empirical evidence for it.
so it's that fundamental clash again. Verifiable proof versus, well, faith or subjective experience. What specific criticisms come up about the lack of evidence?
Well, sources like encyclopedias of pseudoscience are pretty blunt. They state flatly there's no evidence for the records themselves or for related concepts like astral projection or accessing other planes of existence. There's also criticism of the sources often cited by believers to validate the record.
Right, I saw that mentioned. They point to figures like Edgar Cayce, the famous psychic or channeler, or journalists who are maybe better known for advocating conspiracy theories or UFO research.
Exactly. And for critics, relying on those kinds of sources just highlights that it's based on belief and anecdote, not on anything you can test or reproduce scientifically.
It's fascinating, though. Both sides, the neuroscience side and the Starseed side, they're fundamentally trying to answer the same thing. Why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
But the methods, the criteria for what counts as an answer are just worlds apart.
Completely different paradigms. In one, the feeling is the evidence, in a way. In the other, the feeling is suspect until it can be measured.
And that power of belief, whether you believe in a star origin or a brain glitch, it really hits home when we talk about health, doesn't it? Let's shift into that other really controversial area, the mind-body connection and healing, especially around figures like, say, Joe Dispenza.
Right. This is where the idea that you can heal your body with your mind takes center stage. Proponents are really strong on this. They often talk about the placebo effect, but instead of seeing it as a trick or something to be controlled for in studies, they see it as, well, miraculous. They'll call it the most effective medicine on the planet. The argument is that science only dismisses it because you can't, patent it or sell it in a pill.
So the placebo effect isn't noise in the data. It's proof of our innate healing power. That's the argument. But the criticisms here are also really intense. People calling these movements dangerous, even scams.
Yes, very intense. And the sources lay out these criticisms pretty clearly. Some accuse these movements of being like a scam or even a cult. The core danger, critics say, is telling people they can heal serious diseases just with their mind, potentially leading them away from proven medical treatments.
And there are criticisms about the methods too, right? The atmosphere at retreats.
Yeah, accusations about using like really loud music, high energy, trying to create altered states, maybe appealing more to younger crowds, but also attracting people who are incredibly vulnerable, older people with very serious illnesses who are just desperate for hope.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of that desperation. That's the charge.
And the really tough part, the sources point out, is what happens when it doesn't work. The potential for self-blame.
Exactly. If someone doesn't get healed, the narrative can easily become, well, you didn't believe enough, or you have hidden blocks, or you didn't do the work properly, instead of acknowledging maybe the method itself has limits.
That kind of spiritual gaslighting sounds incredibly harmful.
It can be devastating. But just to bring in the balance, it's worth understanding the potential mechanism that might be at play, neurologically speaking. Even from a mainstream science view, the body does have self-healing capacities, and it's plausible that changing your mental state could influence that. It's not magic, it's about the nervous system.
Okay, tell me more about that connection. How does thinking potentially affect our physical repair systems?
Well, we basically have two main modes for our nervous system. Sympathetic, that's your fight or flight. Stress, adrenaline, crisis mode. And parasympathetic, that's rest and digest. Calm, repair, maintenance. If someone's chronically stressed or ill, their sympathetic system might be constantly switched on. The idea is that practices like meditation or consciously cultivating different thought patterns could send safety signals to the nervous system. Enough signals could help dial down the sympathetic overdrive and allow the parasympathetic, the repair system, to actually get to work more effectively.
So you're trying to consciously shift the body's internal state
Hmm.
from crisis management to like system maintenance and repair,
So yeah,
optimizing its own resources.
that's the theory. You're basically trying to create a more favorable internal environment for healing. The huge challenge, though, is studying this rigorously. Our understanding of the brain and nervous system interaction is still pretty limited in the grand scheme of things, making it really hard to get consistent, repeatable results in studies. It often comes down to individual practice, consistency, belief, things science struggles to quantify easily.
So this whole journey we've taken, from a quick brain glitch like déjà vu, to searching the cosmos for answers, to harnessing the mind for healing, it all seems to circle back to this deep human need for meaning, for stability, for feeling whole. Maybe we can pivot one last time, away from looking for answers out there or even just in the brain's wiring, and towards, well, building strength from within. What does a genuine, grounded spiritual experience actually look like, according to the sources, regardless of the specific belief system?
Yeah, that's a great place to land. The sources suggest that real spiritual health isn't about being perfect or good all the time. It's more about balance, accepting all parts of yourself, the bits you like and the bits you don't. And it's about fully living the human experience, which includes both happiness and suffering. It's not about avoiding the hard stuff.
Okay. And the sources mention two specific kinds of experiences, states of being, that represent moments of genuine, maybe transcendence. The first one was plenitude.
Plenitude, yeah, that's described as this feeling of perfect fullness. But it's spontaneous, it just happens. The characteristics are feeling cool, silent, still, maybe light or floaty, very tranquil. The example given was like seeing beautiful flowers under moonlight and just being filled with this sense of perfect peace. The key thing is, you can't make it happen. You can't schedule plenitude for 3 p.m. on Tuesday. You can only be open to it, receive it when it comes.
Right, it finds you. And the second state sounded quite different, maybe more earned. Flow or transcendence.
Exactly. Flow is often achieved through intense focus and activity. Things like long-distance running, maybe depth creative work, martial arts like Tai Chi. It's that state where your sense of self kind of melts away. You merge with the activity, with the environment, thoughts quiet down, your internal chatter stops, everything just clicks, synchronizes. You lose track of time, you're just completely absorbed in the present moment.
So whether it's that spontaneous gift of plenitude or that earned state of flow, what's the long-term benefit? What do these experiences do for us?
According to the sources, they build something internally, an inner reservoir, like a deep well of energy or peace inside you. This reservoir then acts as a kind of buffer. It helps you withstand external difficulties, navigate suffering better. It builds resilience, that ability not just to bounce back from hardship, but maybe even to grow from it.
It sounds like building that reservoir often requires, well, friction, hardship itself.
That's a strong theme, yes. Spiritual growth, genuine change, often seems to require going through difficulty, disappointment, loss, getting knocked down. The path to inner strength isn't usually easy street. It's often forged in challenge.
And besides just enduring things, what about day-to-day practices? What helps build that inner reservoir?
Practice and reflection seem key. Things like consistent mindfulness sati, as it's called in some traditions, really paying attention. Also, deep listening, which means listening to others, or even yourself, without immediately judging or formulating your reply or trying to fix it. Just truly hearing. And self-reflection, maybe journaling, honestly looking at your thoughts and feelings, trying to understand their roots. These practices deliberately shift your focus inward, away from constant external distraction.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, for you listening, maybe you started this deep dive just curious about that odd flash of déjà vu. We've gone from brain glitches to star maps in the soul, to the power of focused belief and healing.
And the thread tying it all together, really, whether we're talking temporal lobes or starseeds or mindfulness, is this fundamental human search. The search for meaning, for understanding ourselves, for finding stability and healing in a complex world. Whether you lean towards a scientific explanation for strange feelings or a more spiritual or cosmic one, the underlying drive is often the same, trying to make sense of our inner experience and navigate life's uncertainties.
Yeah, you really see that pattern. We look for reasons. Sometimes we find them in hard data and science. Other times we find them in belief systems that go beyond what science can currently measure or explain. It just shows there are different ways of knowing, different kinds of truth we engage with. We rely so much on our intellect, right? Logic, data, reason. But the sources reminded us of that other powerful quote, I think it was Pascal. The heart has its reasons, which reason knows nothing of.
We know the truth not only by the reason, but by the heart.
Exactly. So maybe a final thought to leave you with is just that. What truths might your heart, your intuition, your deepest feelings be telling you about your life, your purpose, even your memories that maybe your logical mind can't quite grasp or explain away? Something to ponder.